Hello my dear learners. As promised, today in this video, I would be giving you an example of a complex number to be represented in polar form. Okay. So for this, as discussed in my previous video, first step is already discussed. What was that? Finding modulus of a complex number. Now in this video, we are combining whatever we have learned in our previous video to find out the given complex number in polar form. So let's start with step number 1 and then I'll explain why have I written all of these. Yeah, before that, please make a note of polar representation of a complex number is always given in the form z is equal to r cos theta plus I sin theta. Okay. R value any which way, step 1 we will get the answer. But to find out theta, theta is called as argument. So that requires 2 more steps, that which I will explain. So for finding out theta, I require this trigonometric ratios table. So please make a note of this trigonometric ratios table. I will explain it to you as and when we come to so and so step. So first, in the example, z is equal to 1 plus 1i is given to us. So obviously, real part of z is equal to 1. Similarly, imaginary part of z also is equal to 1. Modulus of z is given by square root of x square plus y square. Substituting in the formula, I get this as 1 square plus 1 square, which is equal to square root of 2. This modulus of z is also called as r. So the working or finding the value of r is done. Now I have to find the value of theta. How do I find the value of theta? First I find the value of alpha. Alpha is given by tan inverse of modulus of y by x. We all know what is the work of modulus. Any term which is there in a negative context, it will convert it into a positive term. Similarly, any term in positive remains as positive. So substitute in the formula, I get this as tan inverse of 1 divided by 1, which can be written as tan inverse of 1. Any which way, modulus of 1 by 1 is going to be 1 itself. So I have written it as tan inverse of 1 inside the bracket. Now compare the trigonometric ratio table and tell me which value of tan is giving me 1 from the trigonometric angle measurement. So tan theta is giving me 1 when the angle is 45 degrees. Correct? But when it comes to polar representation, we are interested only in writing it in the form of radian measure. So what will I consider? I will consider the value of the angle in terms of radian measurement, which is nothing but pi by 4. Okay. So therefore I get alpha is equal to pi by 4. Now the work of finding alpha is over. Now what do I have to find out? I have to find out theta. But before I come to theta, it is very, very important for us to understand our Cartesian plane with quadrants. Okay, because whenever angle comes into picture, trigonometry also comes into picture. Okay, so to understand our 4 quadrants, we will just make a note of what value for what quadrant is going to be positive or negative, so on and so forth. So this is called as first quadrant. Obviously, we are naming it in anti-clockwise direction. So first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. In the first quadrant, x value is going to be positive, y value is also going to be positive. This is my x-axis, y-axis, x dash, y dash. X dash and y dash to only differentiate between positive values and negative values. So in the second quadrant, I will have x-axis to be negative, y-axis to be positive. In the third quadrant, I will have x-axis and y-axis, the values to be negative. And in the last quadrant, I am going to have x to be positive and y to be negative. Okay. But when I come to my theta representation in these four quadrants, please make a note of this and have it in your minds, my dear learners. Very, very important. If you do not know this representation, then further from here, proceeding becomes very difficult. So understand and have it in your minds. In the first quadrant, theta is equal to alpha. Okay. In the second quadrant, theta is equal to pi minus alpha. In the third quadrant, theta is equal to minus of pi minus alpha. See the difference between the second and the third quadrant? If I know the value of the second quadrant, then only substitute a minus sign outside, you will get off the value of theta in the third quadrant. Similarly, theta in the fourth quadrant is going to be negative of alpha. Again, if I know the value of the first quadrant, yeah, alpha value, it is going to be with the negative sign for the fourth quadrant. Okay. Now, how do I proceed with my problem? I have to find out theta. How do I find out theta? So, theta is nothing but, how do I find out theta? See my values of x and y here. This again the values of x and y will come into picture. So for this problem, x is equal to 1, y also is equal to 1. When both are positive, it falls in which quadrant? It falls in the first quadrant. So therefore 1, 1 lies in the first quadrant. Therefore theta is equal to alpha, and alpha whatever we have got is pi by 4. Understood the logic? So that is why we find out our quadrants. After I get the value of alpha, I will just substitute in my final equation. What is it? Z is equal to R. What is the value of R? Root 2 cos theta value is pi by 4 plus I sin pi by 4. So this entire problem I have explained it on this particular plane. Any doubts in any step, please pause the video, resume from wherever is required for you all, understand each and every step and then only proceed. We all know concept is our strength. If we have to build confidence in ourselves, telling maths is easy, we have to make our concepts very, very strong. Otherwise, proceeding from any particular topic becomes really difficult. Please put in your efforts, my dear learners. You will do a great job. Please understand each and every step and then only proceed. So in my next video, we will start off with exercise 5.2 from NCERT. Thank you all. Stay tuned.